We're back. We move. We go again. Sideline Talk podcast. Let's get cracking. We've got lots to talk about. Conte, Emery, the boys are here. Pod in the pub is back. Kingham's here. Miller's here. Let's go.
On what?
On that.
No sound, lads. What kind of name?
Wayne Rooney. Hazard. He has done it. An important moment on an important day, and Kane wins it, and Tottenham lead. Aubameyang, oh brilliant! He took his first time, and with devastating effect. Mo Salah. Can he finish things off here? He can. It is 2-0.
And we are back. It's been a while, but we hope you've all been well. Sam, Lee, myself, we're here to discuss last week's games. Discuss. We're going to talk about the Champions League very vaguely. We're going to go into this weekend's fixtures, but yeah, there's lots to get into. But boys, how are we all doing?
It's been a while, isn't it?
Good. But yeah, let's go into the main topic, which is.
Oh, we didn't get Chris in.
Chris, where are you, mate? Jump on, come on, we're waiting for you. But yeah, he's got the link. He'll be here. Chris will be coming in. But yeah, let's talk about the main thing that's going on in the football world. Spurs in the muds. Conte, what are you doing? But yeah, before I put my 2 pence in, I'm going to go to Lee because we're Arsenal fans. So we're obviously going to maybe be a little bit biased. But Kingham, what's your thoughts, mate?
What do we think it's on?
Shit. Yeah, what do you think is shit?
I don't know. What is the best appointment they could have possibly got? It's what they wanted in the summer. Nuno was obviously about 8th choice when so they finally got their wish a couple months late. I'm very interested to see what he's going to do.
Yeah, I am, but I'm not. I think it's just. I think they're still like it's still going to get worse before it gets better. But for me, I feel like this is just too much for him to take on. And whether he gets the funds he needs, I don't know. But there's a lot of deadwood to get rid of. The Harry Kane situation still to really sort out. I guess I don't know what's going to happen there. But I think if anyone can do a job for them, it's definitely him. But yeah, Mildog, what's your thoughts on Conte?
Do you know what? All I've had the last day or two on their Twitters and all the social medias, they're back. Back from fucking what, man? Like, don't get me wrong, fair play. I'd have him in at Arsenal in a heartbeat. I think he's a fantastic manager. Like I said to you boys off before we came on, he's got to be on a promise. That's the only thing I would understand why he would go there. They've got to give him a war chest. Fair enough, be excited. Go for it, but let's be real, man. What are they going to do? What do you think they're really going to do? I don't think they're going to be all that. You've got players that don't want to be there. Harry Kane, all right, maybe he might turn his head again, but would you really want to play like that? Who's just already said that he wants to leave, being there, leading your line, your captain?
I don't know. I think Harry Kane and Son could potentially start getting the ball rolling again under Conte because he knows he plays a sort of football that can work for them, but it just depends in Kane's head at the moment. If he's not got anything going for him, then they're really going to keep they're going to keep going the way they've been, which is not what I'm not going to say terrible because in November he won manager, not November. September. September he won manager of the month, and then within a month they've really turned around. So I think as soon as Kane has his head there, they get rid of people like Dyer, Ali, Harry Winks, people like that. Bring some money in if they can. Chris is with us finally, I believe.
We'll be able to hear him.
Yeah. Chris, can we hear you?
Yeah. Hello.
How are you doing, mate? You okay?
Good, mate. You?
Yeah, not too bad. What we're going to do is change this screen so it suits the pair of us.
Can you turn him up as well?
Yeah, let's have a look. So that's better. Wait, we're back. But yeah, Chris, we're just talking about obviously Conte. Give us your thoughts, mate.
exciting, isn't it? Antonio Conte back in the Premier League.
But obviously, overall, do you think there's too much of a job in his hands, or do you think he really can turn it around?
Oh no, 100% he can turn it around. I think you look at the players they got now, the system he likes to play. So I think the exciting thing about Conte is he likes his system, and I think the bit we're going to have over the next few weeks is seeing how Conte will test players in their various positions of how he wants them to fit in his system. We're all very, very aware that Conte likes a 3-back. He likes wing backs. He likes to have a flat 3 midfield that kind of rotate around. He likes. I think he's going to love Højbjerg, to sit deep and play almost like a quarterback role. It'll be interesting to see, which players he selects to play in those positions. But also, I think the reason he's got the job now is Daniel Levy's realised he needs to back Conte. I don't think Levy was planning to back Conte in the summer, and I think considering Antonio walked away from Inter because they weren't going to back him, he likes to know that. I think it's the case of having money available to buy, big players like 50, 60 million players here. It's to buy those small little players like, we all raised an eyebrow when Victor Moses and Ashley Young went to Inter, and yet them two both got Serie A winners medals. I think it's getting Levy and Fabrizio Patrici to back his way of thinking and to bring in those smaller players. And those players like, I wouldn't be surprised if Arturo Vidal joins Tottenham in January, because it's the sort of player that Antonio likes. I think a lot of Spurs players they're going to have to up their game. Yep. And I think it'd be interesting to see how who survives. Initially thinking Lucas Moura could be up for a cut, or he could be transitioned into a right wing back. Who knows? I think Steve Bergwijn. I think Dele Alli's definitely going to be one that might be on his way out. I just don't think he's got the ambition and the work ethic.
Yeah, brilliant mention of Vidal there as well. But yeah, I think they're going to have to get used to his play quickly. Like, he's going to want things rolling very, very soon, because he's got a reputation he needs to keep hold of as well. But in terms of like the Harry Kane situation, where do you think Tottenham go from here? Because he's now, I think you were in our podcast when we were discussing this, and the whole like 180 million, 200 million price bracket. He's nowhere near that now. I would be surprised if anyone bidded 70 for him, not even 50 at the moment, because it's a gamble, isn't it? You need to really like change his head around quickly. But do you think him and Son are perhaps a partnership that Conte will look to bring back into form? Because outstandingly last season they were brilliant.
Absolutely, and I think the interesting thing, and for all the FIFA players, your left wing Son isn't going to be no more. Son's going to play up top. I think Conte likes to play 2 up top, and I think in Tottenham the Kane and Son partnership merits the 2 up top. I was reading a lot of tactical watching a few tactical videos, and the way that if you watch Martinez and Lukaku last year, who were Inter's front 2, the way they would switch, one would drop deep and the other one would punch through the back line. So if you look at Lukaku, would be the one to drop deep, and Lautaro Martinez would be the one to push through. So I think you're going to see a lot of Harry Kane dropping deep and Son getting up there. Reguilon playing left wing back, getting up on there, and even then the midfield, like Conte likes his midfielders to be later rivals. You look at Nico Barella, what he was doing at Inter last year, and what he's done for Italy. He was getting on the score sheet by arriving late, so wouldn't be surprised to see. I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be surprised to see like Ndombele, start getting more goals.
I think the tactics switch suit them. Spurs have obviously been ropey at the back for a long time, but if you've got shit defenders, you pay 3 at the back to help them out.
Do you think it's the end of Dyer?
No, I don't. I think Dyer will probably be the centre back that features the most. Okay, I think. I don't get me wrong. I don't rate Dyer. I don't rate Dyer at all. But I think at least for this season, he's gonna play most of the games. He's gonna have another defender alongside him in back 3, and I think that'll suit Dyer. I think it'll suit Sanchez, or is it Romero that brought in?
Romero will play the middle centre back, because Conte likes a ball playing centre back to come out and join the midfield.
Yeah,
Kane and Son partnership will be.
But do you think, though, boys, realistically, is that enough to turn Kane's head to want to stay or not forced to move in January?
Well, if Kane don't start turning up, Conte will probably consider.
Fuck him off anyway.
Yeah, because Conte's attitude It's always been if playing on, putting in the effort, he'll kill him. Pretty sure
If you're,
So it's actually, yeah.
yeah.
if you're Harry Kane though, you want to play for managers like Conte.
Yeah, 100%. He'll walk in that dressing room straight away and demand respect. Whereas Nuno probably didn't because Spurs didn't really want him. That's just the only option they had at the time. Whereas Conte's come in with a trophy-laden managerial career, demands respect straight away.
Yeah, I think the Kane Son thing, like, we'll go into the Tottenham games in a minute and who they've played and who are about to play, but I think I would be very worried right now in terms of Harry Kane and Son because I've seen people say, "Oh, Son's going straight in my fantasy team," just because they know that Conte has the skill to know what to do with him, whereas Nuno didn't look like he was going to do it. I think Nuno was always a temporary thing. It seemed very quick, and to me, I hate United, I hate Tottenham, so I never really wanted him going to either of them. But I think at least at Tottenham he has something to do. I think at United there's a club there and the players ready, whereas Tottenham there's a lot of work to do. I don't think Rome will be built in a day. I think he still has a lot to get rid of, like Dyer we mentioned, Harry Winks. I mean, there's too many there. Even the defence is still not solid. Matt Doherty's still sitting somewhere on the sidelines. So yeah, I'd like to see how quickly this really does
It's good to have another top manager in the league, though.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's the big challenge for Conte is the fact we've still got all these top managers and top teams. And that's why I think he'll still struggle to win stuff. You've still got Liverpool, Guardiola at City, Tuchel doing a phenomenal job at Chelsea. I mean, poor United stuck the volley.
I'm sure we'll come on to that, mate. But
the manager, but
the thing is, as well, as like I said to you earlier, boys, and stuff like that, it's like fair enough. I completely understand the banter from Tottenham fans, especially towards the Arsenal situation and everything like that, even though we've turned the corner. But again, you can only polish a turd so much, and let's see where they go. We'll see at the end of the season, and we'll come back to it. But I just do not think it's going to be that instant. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely not. I think it's good. I still think it will get worse before it.
It might have that little spurt.
Yeah, I'll back instant. I think.
Do?
Yeah, I back instant. They're only 4 or 5 points off the top four. I think they'll finish top four this year.
Oh,
Fucking hell, Chris.
Let's get into the games anyway, because we're going to probably go back to Tottenham. But let's talk about this one. North London is red after all. Great win for the Arsenal boys. Wasn't expecting this. Very, very happy. Ramsdale still making me eat humble pie. I said the other day, to be honest, I'm quite full on humble pie, but if you're going to be full up on humble pie, at least it's for your own team. And yeah, I'm excited for the run we're on. Chris, let me ask you, because as an outsider, and then I'll go to Lee, and then I'll get Sam's thoughts. What are you making of this run now? 9 games unbeaten, and obviously we're happy. We're seeing a lot of progress. We're seeing something happen with the team. But from an outside point of view, how long do you think this can go on for, and what do you think's actually changed? Because I mean, I say that I don't think we're as bad as what people are making out. But like we lost to Brentford, that was it. But what's your thoughts on it all?
I think the panic button was pushed way too early. Considering the fixture list, yes, Brentford, it was a freak game in that sense. But then you got Chelsea and Man City in your opening few games. You're always going to, I think if you actually looked at the your fixture list, you always would have said, right, we would have dropped points there and against those two, and we're always playing catch up. And now I think it's hard to start a season with 2 big games like that, and also try and drum up momentum. You haven't been able to get those easy games like against Norwich or whatnot to kind of break in the team. So it's very much a case of hit the ground running, and then you almost started from game week 3 or 4. So you're behind everyone. But no, I think there just definitely seems to be something positive at Arsenal. It's been a while since they actually seem to be wanting, playing. The youngsters are all chipping in and leading, and even Aubameyang's now going to step up as Lacazette. I was a big doubter of Lacazette, but he seems to be firing again. So yeah, I think it's all things up at the moment for Arsenal, I think. And yeah, how long the run keeps going? Well, you guys tell me. You're the Arsenal fans.
We got Watford, which is a good game going into. I think that'll be another comfortable win again. They're a bit off the boil, even under Ranieri. He's not really got anything working for them at the moment. They had a game against Southampton, which I would have expected them to pick up points. Yeah, and obviously, they got absolutely annihilated by Everton.
Yeah, they beat Everton.
Oh, they beat Everton 5-2.
Oh yeah, 5-2. But
I think that was a freak.
yeah, I don't understand them. They're hot and cold. I don't get what they haven't got enough quality. I admit that. Like Dennis, obviously Dennis, he looks like a good acquisition up top, but I don't know. I think Liverpool would be it's going to be the biggest test this season. Definitely, see how good our defense is. Like Tomiyasu, I thought he had a blinder in this game. I thought Gabriel and Ben White again were tremendous, but that's going to be a test for Mane, Salah, and Jota or Firmino, whoever plays. I think this is where you see how good they are.
And also, you now know that Ben White is now, beginning to start doing his things because no one keeps taking the mick out the fact of, you spent 50 million on them. It's all that banter's gone quiet, which means Ben White's doing his thing.
Yeah. It's a good thing if no one's talking about you at the end of the day.
Yeah,
you're not doing good. You're not doing bad. You're not doing anything wrong. But speaking of Liverpool, we'll go into Lee's thoughts on Arsenal because I want to hear this because I haven't heard too much. We don't talk too much about football, so. But yeah, got you coming up.
Kind of just echo what Chris said. Really, I think the process is going forward a bit. Like you said, panic after the press that needs to be the first three results. But I think Arteta's building there. He's got a nice, youthful squad. He's brought in players in possibly the areas you need in terms of like fullbacks. Ramsdale's obviously everyone questioned that one, and he's arguably been the sign of the season so far. You're confident playing good football. Interested to see what happens when you play a good team.
We put that one in. Last but not least, Norwood. How excited are you now? Obviously, we was at the Emirates last week, Leeds game.
Yeah, we were there.
I mean, we were there. I don't know how much.
We weren't there in person.
Yeah, we weren't there in person. I think half of us were there, half wasn't. But yeah, we got a good thing going. 9 games unbeaten.
Yeah.
I mean, we beat Leicester, which no one was expecting. I would have taken a point there and then on the day. But what's next? Do you think this and how much of an effect do you think Arteta has had on this as well? Because obviously the players haven't changed. The system hasn't really changed, but we're playing more attacking football, don't you think?
I think, we're obviously playing more attacking football. But then again, I don't think we have not ever really changed the style of play under Arteta anyway. When we beat Liverpool in that FA Cup run last year to win it, or 2 years ago, sorry. There was a process there. Everyone was saying that we attacked every game differently. What I'm seeing a bit more from this Arsenal team now is that we're going for it a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, you can tell, you can name about 8 or 9 starters that's going to be every week. Yeah, do that. 2 seconds. We're going. I don't know where I was. Where was I?
You were talking about the Liverpool FA Cup win.
Oh yeah, okay, of course. And that's what I'm saying. Going forward with that, ever since then and stuff like that, yes, there's been questionable results, and there's been questionable performances the whole way through. I personally still do not want this manager at the club, and you know that. But I'm not gonna. I will give him
another
credit.
debate.
I will give him credit where credit is due. He's turning my head slightly, but I still do not think he's the right man for the. I think only due to the fact of how inexperienced he is. That is it. Whereas I think with
do you think we've just been talking on Conte though?
Yeah.
Do you think we are in a position where we can attract a manager? There's not really anyone else left out there, is there? I mean, I'm not going to mention Mourinho's name because he's having a shambles at Roma. But who really? Well, I don't think he's. I think he's a loose cannon. I think he's a loose cannon. That's the best word for him.
We want a yes man.
It's
an echo. Through Chris. Other than that, but yeah, I will give him credit. I think against Leicester, I personally wasn't expecting any form of result at all. They surprised me. I was happy with that. I think Ramsdale, Lee touched on, has been absolutely fantastic. Again, was one of these people.
Everyone's talking about captain material, aren't they? But he is, isn't he?
I like that.
He leads the team. I love it.
I like a bit of that. Where he gives them shit.
I'd like to see that. Like, look at Tottenham. They've got I'm not saying the Reece is a great captain, but they've got a keeper as a captain. It's worked for them. Well, I wouldn't say it's worked for them. Obviously,
that's the Champions League final.
No, but
he's won the World Cup though.
A keeper is a good leader. And I feel like he's got everything about him right now. Obviously, Tierney, everyone was mentioning Tierney's name. He's got leadership. He's a good relationship with fans.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. Also, but then again, do you know what I'm starting to see now is that with the players out, with Granit and stuff like that, as much as a lot of people dislike him, he's very important to that formation that we were playing.
100%.
But the Congo stepped up. Parley stepped up. That doesn't matter. But and everyone else is filling in the role. You can see now there's an actual everyone is stepping up, playing well in that position. Look at Tavares. No one wants to see Kieran Tierney drop, but you've got to argue he doesn't get in over him.
Yeah.
Little things like that, But again, end of the day, it's what we're coming up to Christmas, man. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to see us carry on from sitting where we are. Top 4 is a big ask, but
I think 6th. I'm still sticking with
6th, 7th. We'll see where we're at. As long as I think
last 5th is a good season.
Amazing. I'll take 5th all day.
I'll be honest with you.
I'll take 5th all day.
But you've got to understand how far we've fallen.
I think now, and while we're touching on Arsenal as well, I don't want to talk too much longer because I feel like I'm being biased. But while we're touching on it, the one we've got now in the Carabao Cup, we should see this through, at least to the final. Because we've got Sunderland, and then we've got a semi against... There's only a couple teams in there you worry about, really. West Ham have got Tottenham, so one of them get knocked out.
Yeah.
Brentford have got Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then Liverpool got Leicester.
We don't take that competition seriously, though.
Yeah, and Liverpool
We play the kids.
Liverpool put the kids out. So I think Carabao Cup has got to be taken seriously from this point onwards. After Sunderland, at least, maybe. Put your kids out then. But yeah, 5th, I take all day. Let's move on because we've spoken a lot about Arsenal and I'm an Arsenal fan, so it's going to seem biased. But yeah, what a win. We're on a good run. If it keeps it up, quickly touch on this. This is what I meant about Watford. They beat Everton, right? And then I think they lost the first game of when Ranieri was in charge.
Against Liverpool.
Yeah, against Liverpool, got smashed. And then this happens. And Southampton are
These are the kind of games Watford need to be winning if they want to stay in the Premier League.
This is the thing.
A home game against someone like Southampton who should be in and around them.
Yeah.
They need to be winning games like that.
Well, last season, Southampton and them were in the battle, weren't they? This was the relegation battle.
Well, no, Watford were in the Championship last season.
Oh, yeah. Jesus. Right. But Chris, thoughts on Watford this year? For me, I think they're going straight back down. Seems inevitable.
What are your thoughts on Ranieri, Chris? Because I think he's past it, personally. I'm surprised someone's even had a punt on him.
Well, I think with Ranieri, he just seems to be doing the circuit at the moment. He did an all right job at Sampdoria. But yeah, I just think he's unfortunately now become part of that sort of like circuit of managers that just will go around and will just pop up at these clubs from time to time because of his Italian descent. Until he decides to retire, he'll probably just swap England and Italy over again. Like he'll probably pop up as a Cagliari manager in about a year's time, and then he'll be back at I don't know, Norwich manager if they get rid of Daniel Farke or something like that. It's just just going to be part of the rodeo, to be honest. But I think with the reason for the Watford appointment was banking on is just his experience of the Premier League, and maybe if results go their way, I think they'll be in and around it, but they might have a chance of sneaking out of it. I think Norwich. I think if you look at the bottom, I think Norwich are definitely doomed, and I think Watford just need to be above, win those games like the Southampton where they can just keep afloat. But the thing is, Southampton have been hit and miss themselves this year. I think Southampton got a great result against Man City and then lose against Watford. So they're very, very erratic themselves, and it's hard to predict whether they thought, because I thought Southampton would be languishing down the bottom, yet they do pop up with a surprise performance here and there.
Armstrong looks good as well, doesn't he? Him and Che Adams together, like they look really good. English as well, not that they'll ever have a chance in an international level sort of thing, but they will. I think Watford, if they can't get results here, they're going to definitely, at least, I agree with you, if they manage to survive, which I really don't think they will. I hope they do, because I think they can play better football than the other teams in it.
And I think quite a lot of teams coming up. You want a lot of these teams to actually have a bit of a stint in the Premier League where they can build something. They're literally a lot of teams that will just come up, buy players, get relegated, have to sell, then a lot of players, and the cycle begins. Whereas actually, I'm quite excited. Brentford do survive to see Brentford's second season. How they're going to build upon this.
Yeah,
and I think as football fans, that's what we like to see.
This is the thing. If Watford stayed up, who goes down? We're probably going to lose a very promising team. And yeah,
Newcastle, send them down.
Hey,
Newcastle, get them down.
Yeah. Touching on that next game, but yeah, bloody. I don't know. New ownership, all this talk, all this madness. The first thing I'm going to ask you, and I know we've sort of spoke about this the other week, but we'll talk on the Emery rumours. I don't know how much you know about it in the last 24 hours, just after we talk in the game.
It's been quashed.
Yeah, but what do you make of that? In fact, we'll go to it. What do you make of this? Apparently, he said that the ownership do not have enough. He doesn't have enough belief in the ownership, basically.
Each don't fancy relegation fight.
Yeah, but what do you make of it? Because BBC Sport basically said he did not think that the ownership had the best ambitions. That's how I took it, anyway.
Strange comment.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I think maybe.
Do you think this is worrying for Newcastle now? Because obviously, no, worries, mate.
No,
they're in a position they need a manager.
Thing is, though, I question why Emery would leave Villarreal to go to Newcastle.
Yeah.
He's at a good club in Villarreal. They're knocking on the door of European football every year. They won the Europa League last year. So I'd question Emery's choice to leave Villarreal and go to a club like Newcastle, where there is a lot of limbo, where you've got, there is still a limbo over the ownership and the direction the ownership wants to take the club. And, there's still, like, for example, the Premier League's agreed to a meeting with Amnesty International, but, just put the politics aside on that front. There's still, how much money will be available in January, what sort of caliber player can they buy? There was obviously talk of Paulo Fonseca, and that's now gone quiet. And now I think Eddie Howe's now become the favourite.
This is madness.
I think what it is with Newcastle is they've got 4 points this season so far. You get to around Christmas and then say they're not on 14 points. How are they going to survive this season?
Do you think as well?
I think what they need, this season, they just need a temporary manager to see to the end of the season to try and keep them up.
Yeah.
And then maybe try and get one of the bigger names to take it forward.
Give it to Giggsy to the end of the year.
Yeah, get Big Sam in.
A lot of people want to actually see them go down. The fact is that they've got that takeover.
Just because it'll be funny.
For me, I think there's people like that, but there is quite a big portion of people that believe that they can become this European club again, which I think is asking for too much too soon. But do you think ownership is enough to do that? Like, can they still attract these sort of players? Because like Lee just touched on, 4 points, right? We've played 10 games. They're probably this weekend. They're probably going to. I'd say I'd give them a point in their next game, to be honest. The way they're playing at the moment, and then you're looking at an international break, and then they come back. And to be honest, they'll probably be fit. And then they've not really got any international players. So, okay, they might have a break, a regroup, and the ownership might go into the training ground and say, look, this is what we're going to do in January. They need to really build hope, don't they? Because it's going to keep getting worse. And then the only time they're going to really have something going is in maybe a 2-3 year plan. But Eddie Howe,
I think it won't be it won't be 2 or 3 year. I think for the level that people expect in Newcastle, hitting out of all this money. It's a 5 to 7 year plan.
Yeah, I would have said 5.
Yeah, I hope we're right in that. But some of the things I see on Twitter, I just think, what planet are you from? Like, it's not going to happen. They've got I get attacking wise. Don't get me wrong. They've got a great front three. Like, I like Callum Wilson. Maxime's probably been their best player for several months now, and Jolison, I don't know. I don't really. It's probably the worst signing they've ever made in terms of the money they paid for him.
He's terrible.
And Joe Willock, obviously, like, as an Arsenal fan, I've seen what he's capable of. And Ryan Fraser, who they bought from Bournemouth, who was Bournemouth, arguably probably their best player, to be honest. Like, but they've just got too many other problems around the team. But yeah, we'll see what happens with them. I think time will tell. I still think they're going down, though.
I think if they go down, they'll come straight back up, though.
That's the, yeah.
They did it last time when they went down, didn't they?
Yeah, be interesting to see how like a club with that sort of ownership fits into a championship, because all the other teams are going to be like, right,
Well,
I want a piece of the cake.
we saw an example with Wolves. Remember, Wolves got their investment whilst in the Championship, and Wolves absolutely walked it. You know, people forget that Ruben Neves was an absolute was a big player going down to play in the Championship.
Yeah, good point. Let's. Wow, I mean, I don't know about you boys, but Patrick Vieira still making a statement, completely brilliant. To be honest, obviously there was the red card, which for me, I'm going to talk about the incident at Arsenal. I'm going to go back to that because there was an incident with the Arsenal game where Aubameyang was brought down. Last man, supposedly. Same thing similar happened here. And actually the same thing similar happened in the Villa game, which we'll touch on in a short minute. But other than that, where do you think it went wrong for City in this game, Chris? Obviously, they want to be picking up points in games like this because no one's easy at the moment. We've seen that. I would say Brentford, but bearing what happened this weekend,
Norwich.
Norwich is the only easy fixture you get. So this is a game where you think, right, let's sort of get the ball rolling. But what do you make of Gallagher as well? Obviously, he's been phenomenal every game. And this game stood out. Do you think now Patrick Vieira could be a potential and Palace rise in the table this season? We've seen it with West Ham. Can Palace be up there, or do you think it's just sort of run a form?
Well, I think, you know, with Patrick Vieira, I'm in my case, if I'm eating humble pie, you know, I kind of stopped with Patrick Vieira. Yeah, you know, his record in Nice was appalling. His record in the States is appalling. Yet he seems to be working miracles here at Palace. And I think, you know, the acquisitions that Palace have made in the transfer market is fantastic. And yeah, I think Gallagher is proven to be an absolute sensation. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if quite a lot of big teams come knocking. But I think, you know, Palace very much, or you know, I think we're talking mid-table here. I don't think they're going to go, you know, I don't think they're going to dent the top half, and I don't think they're going to go down. So I think it's very much stability and go again another year. But, you know, applause to Vieira. You know, there's a lot of, you know, questions around it, and I think, you know, there's almost Palace were very reliant on Wilfried Zaha, where they don't seem to be that overly that reliant anymore on him. And you know, yeah, and I think as for Man City, well, I think, you know, Man City are prone these days to have these sort of performances, and I just think they are still missing that number 9. Like every time I watch them, it just feels that you know, it is quite literally a swarm of attacking midfielders just knocking the ball around up top, and there's no focal point of the attack, which, you know, it is quite nice, but you do lose that sort of directness that a team like you know, Man United have with Ronaldo, a team like Arsenal have with you know, when Lacazette's on, you know, on form, and you know, you can see the way that it all arrows towards that front man. So with City, it just feels free flowing, and yeah, it just doesn't have a sort of punch which, you know, we see. But then again, I could be in my words, and they put 4 past United the weekend.
Yeah, the Manchester derby. We're going to touch on the Tottenham game at the end, but my God, I think at the moment, January is. I don't know who they'll bring in as well. Do you see? Is there anyone you could really see City bringing in now? The Kane thing's obviously history. Martinez has just signed a new contract at Inter Milan. That would be the only name I'd think of. But do you see anyone that can really fit that role and sort of work with this side?
I can't see Pep making moves for a striker in January because cost and everything like that. Yeah. I think, you know, we're bracing a big summer in regards to transfers. You know, Mbappe still hasn't signed his contract. He still wants Real Madrid, so Mbappe's moving next summer. Haaland's release clause kicks in, so everyone's going to be going for Haaland. Yeah, I think everyone's treading water, and I think maybe City are beginning to start sitting and counting the pennies for Haaland, because I think that will be their big move.
Yeah, good point. Sorry to bring this one up, Lee, but we're going to go into it. Great result for Brighton. Graham Potter. Obviously, he was linked. Well, I don't know if he was linked, but there were talks of him perhaps a good appointment for the Tottenham job. Even United, to be honest. I'm still backing him to be a good person for United in maybe the next year or so. I think he's a great manager. He's not got much to work with, and he's doing
it's not a name, though, is it?
Yeah,
Potter for England, isn't
Potter for England.
United fans would go mental if he fucking got appointed.
No, but he's look at the squad he's working with, right? You've got Maupay, Trossard.
We fucking made him famous though, the Arsenal.
And I'm trying to think. Lallana gets in the team every week, and he's still getting results like this. We've got to start with you, Lee, because obviously being a Liverpool fan, we were just talking about games you need to take points out of.
Yeah.
And Chelsea have now got the 3-point gap. What do you think happened? You were 2-0 up as well.
I don't know. It's just second half shambles, really. I think you have to give a lot of credit to Brighton because they've turned up at Anfield and second half played us off the park pretty much.
Didn't even have a proper number 9 in either, did they? Because Maupay was out.
I think they used Trossard as a false 9. So Van Dijk had a bit of a mare in that game as well. Didn't play well. Defensive midfield didn't look great. I think we missed Fabinho quite a bit. Obviously, our attack's still looking sharp. We had a goal ruled out at 2-0 up, which would have made it 3-0, and that would have killed the game off. I mean, it's the old adage that being 2-0 up early on is the most dangerous scoreline in football because you never know. Quite easily lose it. You know, they get one goal back.
It's game on.
It's game on, yeah. So I don't know. It's just credit to Brighton, really. It's just I don't know. I hope it's not going to be one of those seasons for us where we just miss loads of chances and waste games like this one. But there's also that we're only 3 points behind Chelsea. A lot of football still to be played. We're unbeaten.
Busy Christmas period
games.
coming up, mate.
Yeah. I'm kind of hoping that African Cup of Nations gets cancelled. That worries me a lot.
All of us.
But yeah, I've got still trying to look at the positives and that we're unbeaten. Hopefully, it's just a fluke. Just a fluke draw for us.
Go on, Chris. You had a question, mate.
Yeah, for Lee, how much are you fearing Chelsea in regards to they just seem to not, their defence just seems to be solid. They're just churning out 1-0s, and 2-0s, and they just don't.
Goals.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, their defence.
I don't know how we didn't touch on that, by the way. Brilliant performance from Reece James. Chilwell was out there bagging, and now Reece James has just turned up. I mean, Southgate's probably sat there with his dick in his hand, but it's unreal, unbelievable from the fact that then Lukaku's injured and they haven't even got to worry because they've got people like them performing. Mount scoring a hat-trick the week before, he started blossoming again. Go on.
I think for me, before the start of the season, everyone was like, Liverpool have no chance of winning the league this year. It's going to be Chelsea or City. So it's quite good we're in the mix. It's good that we're in the race. Enjoying it. I think Chelsea are hot favourites at the moment.
But do you still think you could pick them? If your hands on your heart right now.
I think it's going to be tight. There's obviously a lot of football to be played. I think it's too early to say who's going to win it. I think it's going to be tight. It's going to come down to the big games.
Just going back to it now, though, obviously, with your hand on your heart, you're saying that's an absolute missed opportunity. When you played Chelsea, they went down to 10.
Not necessarily.
I think
Chelsea will drop points as well.
I agree.
They're not going to win every game, so.
I agree with Chris. I think it will be down to the defensive display, and I think Chelsea are just getting too many clean sheets.
Chelsea are better.
Mendy's probably arguably the best player this season.
They've lost a game this season.
That display against Brentford was one of the best keeper displays I've ever seen. I think it will be down to defensive displays, and Liverpool are. I mean, they've got tough games coming up. They've got Atletico Madrid tonight. What do you need to do to go through tonight? Win that?
Yeah. If we win, we're through. So if we win that, that's massive because we can just rest players for the last 2 Champions League games.
Yeah, please do that.
So yeah, that would be great. But I'm hoping we sign a midfielder in January, to be honest, because I think the loss of Wijnaldum is massive, and I think it's been quite evident so far. Keita can't stay fit. When he plays, he's been
This has probably been his best start to a season, though.
Yeah, it has. But he just can't stay fit.
He got 3 goals or something like that.
He lasted 20 minutes at the weekend. He got
Henderson
done his hamstring. Well, Henderson's fit. He's playing it.
Yeah, Henderson's been scoring.
Yeah, yes.
I hate the guy. That's nice.
You obviously had Fabinho injured. Harvey Elliott we lost early on. He was looking great.
He did, to be fair, I'll give you that.
I would like to see us buy a midfielder.
So who, though?
I don't know.
See, there's a lot of talk, though. There's a lot of talk. We should have touched on it when we talked about Spurs. We've seen how their favourites are Kesse.
Yeah, I'm not sure what
I think he fits right into that Liverpool midfield, man.
Yeah, I don't know how he'd work with Kesse and Henderson. I don't know how that would work.
No, if Kessie is going to be Spurs, he fits that system better. But then again, to be honest, You know, as I argued with some of the land friends, Kessie got found out against Liverpool.
Mm.
This result aside, though, we're playing brilliantly this season. So I've seen a lot of similarities to 2 years ago.
Yeah, West Ham next, which I can't wait for. West Ham Liverpool will be a huge game, and I mean we're gonna have to start rapping through these games. But yeah, they're just looking dominant, so that'll be a good game. Hopefully, lots of goals. We were talking to Brentford and how they're a game that you look at and you can it just tells you no one's easy. Chris, what did you make of this? I mean, Burnley scoring 3 goals alone for me is just, I'm surprised that they can play such attacking football because Sean Dyche's a man that's known to, throw the bus out when he's up against a team and Brentford this season. I mean, the results they've come out with have been unreal. Even like here or there, even the results where they've won or drawn, they're doing what they need to do to stay in this league. But Burnley beating them. No one had this. What did you make of it, mate?
2 words, Maxwell Cornet. I think everyone knows an eyebrow when quite an exciting, pacey winger went to go join Burnley, but he's been an absolute sensation. He's changed the way Burnley play. With the I think there's too much of a stereotype that Burnley play long ball football up to Chris Wood and stuff. I think actually Cornet has changed the way that they, the wing player in their team, and then Brentford. If we expect the performance that Brentford can give every week, then Brentford will be up there in the top 4. I think there is still that element of naivety, and I think there's that inexperience in regards to the Premier League. But Brentford will be safe, 100%. They will be exciting, and like go back to my earlier point, I'm excited to see their second season. How they're going to build, and how can they establish themselves as a Premier League team going forward.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how Burnley do for the rest of the season as well.
Yeah,
I always feel like Sean Dyche has done an incredible job just keeping them stable in the Premier League. They haven't started this season very well. They're in the relegation zone. It's going to be interesting to see if this could be the year they finally go down. And to be honest, I think the rest of the league would love to see it because nobody likes playing Burnley.
Yeah. No one likes watching him either. I just find this is the only game I've enjoyed watching, and it was Maxwell Cornet. Really got him clicking into gear. But I mean, Chris Wood, great finish in this game, by the way. Little chip over the keeper. But yeah, I think Burnley, this is just one of those where it's a one-off. I can't see them doing this result like this again next time out. Brentford didn't even really play too badly. I think it was just a case that Burnley got more of their chances. I mean, Chris Wood, I hate playing against him because he's tall, he leaps and he literally leaps and bounds. That's all he does. But yeah, shithouse is the word for it. Yeah, going into the game, this is my worst fixture of the weekend. I hate this fixture. But
get back to it. Go.
But yeah, what do you make of Ronaldo this season, Chris? Obviously, we spoke about him earlier on in the show. He's carried this team. I mean, I said on Twitter, I've never seen someone go into a team so quickly and carry them and have such an effect. But do you think there is now big pressure and weight on the shoulders of? Obviously, last night we saw they only got a draw at Atlanta. Very luckily, through him again. What do you make of all the other? what do you make of all the other players now? Like Pogba. I mean, Bruno's playing well. Him and Ronaldo have now got a partnership going.
Did you see that quickly though? On that though, did you see how many times Pogba got dispossessed?
Yeah,
it happens a lot.
He doesn't want to be there, does he?
Look at Salah's goal the week before, where Henderson dispossessed him and played that immense pass. It's just Pogba, isn't it?
You don't want to be there, does he? Like you just said. Like apparently, there's rumour mills that he's asked to go back to Juve.
Do you can you see him back in the Italian league, especially at Juve?
No, I think Juve would want to go for him, but I don't think Juve can afford him, to be honest. But then again, if he goes for a free, then maybe. But would Allegri want him? I don't know, to be honest.
He didn't know. It's year after next.
It'd probably be a classic Juve free transfer, wouldn't it? They love a free transfer.
Yeah, I just don't know. The problem with Juve is they got so many issues in their midfield right now that I just, they've got players that just aren't cutting it up because Juve are on a really bad run themselves. They won last night, but they've lost 2 games in a row now in Serie A, and they're pretty much nearly out the title race. I think it's like 14 points off the top already.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. So but from Pogba, I don't know, to be honest. I think maybe
they don't need him, do they? If they're doing that well already, well,
They're not doing well. That's what I mean.
14 off the top.
Off the top.
Yeah, 14 points off.
That tells you how much I follow Italian.
Yeah.
That tells you how much I follow.
And I don't think Pogba is the sort of player that you bring in to close that gap. Pogba is that luxury player. You know, and I think we see it at Man United. You know, they need hard workers in the midfield. They don't need someone that's going to will be carried around.
Yeah.
How's Rambo getting on, Chris?
He's just not liked, to be honest.
Does he play?
I don't know. Actually, I have to check what he's doing because I think right now
I reckon he's number one. He's number one for Newcastle in January. I reckon.
He's on high wages, and right now I think their midfield they like to go with is McKennie, Rabiot, and Bentancur.
Yeah.
Ramsey's like fourth choice, and the choice the Juve fans don't really like him, and you know he's there earning a lot of money, and he's in and out.
Shame, isn't it? Like I can see him at Newcastle. I think if Newcastle go for any players at a high level, it'll be something like that: a Coutinho, a Ramsey, someone with a high name that perhaps hasn't got it in their locker anymore.
Just get him up.
Yeah,
the Ramsey move to Juve was never going to work out.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, it was always going to end in tears, and it is sad because Ramsey was is a talented player, but you know, it only seems to be at the moment when he's wearing a red Wales shirt.
Definitely.
He's still he was good in the Euros, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, it's like the Juve fans were like, well, where's this Aaron Ramsey been? Because right now, he does nothing in the black and white shirt.
Yeah, I mean, at Arsenal, he was consistent in getting goals. Like whenever he played,
he can't adjust the league.
Like
different league.
Injury prone as well, so I bet he gets rocked.
At Arsenal, he was just known for getting goals. Whenever he came on, like people sort of knew he'd be involved in something.
He'll get involved.
He would always be stat padding, you know. I'm not going to talk too much about this because we're running out of time. But Norwich with another loss. If, like we just said on the Watford Southampton game, if you're not going to get points in this,
Farke's got to go, isn't he?
Yeah, I think they need to get something going.
Why I don't understand for them why they don't play Billy Gilmore.
Yeah, and I
completely forgot about him.
Yeah,
being there.
I don't understand it. He's probably the most talented. No, it's not. It's just on the bench and they don't use him. He's probably the most talented centre mid they've got. I know all the fans keep kicking off about it from Norwich. I don't understand why you'd loan someone from Chelsea to play.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing for me is. I read something yesterday, and it seemed like a reliable source. And there's a Norwich fan I follow, and he knows everything. And he posted an article that apparently they want to stop playing Todd Cantwell, which I cannot understand.
Think he has been playing,
and apparently he's not really been playing. There's no injury, and I think he's your best player. Surely you work with what you've got, you know.
This is why they're calling for the manager's head.
So to be honest, if you're not going to play Todd Cantwell, it's your funeral. Like, you've got no one else to work with. Why you wouldn't play to Cantwell, I don't know. When you're in this sort of situation, you're clearly like, you've got nothing going. You're not going to get out of the... There's no mountain to climb. You're just going to sit there for the rest of the season. It's going to be a long year for them. If they're not going to play Todd Cantwell, good luck to them. They're finished.
That time Leeds won an away game as well.
But yeah, great. I was actually in the pub and this was on. I wouldn't usually watch a game like this, because it doesn't really speak volumes, does it?
Super Sunday, that was it.
Yeah, it wasn't a great Super Sunday. But in the last, I'll tell you what, half hour, it got really exciting. But yeah, the first half, I'll be honest, I didn't even have my head to the TV. It was just, I could tell it was a boring game. But yeah, Leeds needed an away win.
Going back to the previous game, guys, the Man United, what do you guys make of the Ollie situation?
Oh, yeah, good talk, actually. And I was going to bring this up, yeah. I mean, it's because we're talking about Conte and Emery. There's too much going on. But in terms of Ollie, I think now Conte's been wrapped up at Tottenham, they're going to do... I don't know...
Do you think United will regret not going in for him?
They're going to stick with Ollie now.
They'll stick with him, yeah. I think they'll stick with him now. I don't see him... I don't see any better movement. I don't see there being a manager that will come in... Like, they've got the squad, so it is obviously the management that's in the wrong. But I think they'll give him what he wants now. They'll give him the rest of the season, definitely.
For me, Ollie's had he's in his third year, and he doesn't change the way United play. They're still trying to hit teams on the counter kind of thing. Yeah. It just doesn't seem to work. I thought he did well the other night to switch the free back. It obviously worked for him.
While we're quickly on United and stuff like that, can we quickly touch on Van de Beek? Because I would love him in an Arsenal.
I wouldn't want Van de Beek anywhere near an Arsenal. Van de Beek.
I just don't understand why he's not getting any form of game time.
Yeah, even Sancho, they're not playing Sancho.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on with Sancho as well?
I wanted him for years and not playing.
I do not want Van der Beek anywhere near an Arsenal shirt.
It's like he's got his favourites, you know.
All we do is buy off rivals, right? We get these rival rejects. He's not even a rival reject because he hasn't played. But all we do is buy these players that have had a gamble at another club. We sign them, and then it will be another gamble, and it will flop. And to be honest, the system we've got at the moment is working. We don't need, Van der Beek's going to want to come in and get first team football, right?
I think of course. But what I'm saying is, look, you've got to look at it realistically, though.
It's a clickbait link.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
also,
not going anywhere near.
so look, I know they were 2-0 up, maybe 3-0 up at the time, and Lingard came on at the Tottenham game instead of him. That just says it all.
Yeah,
Lingard's good
says
player.
it all. I'm not saying he's not.
The sooner Van der Beek leaves, the better.
Yeah,
But I hope
He's
it's
got
away.
his pushing, man.
I reckon he's going to be going somewhere. He's going to either go back from where he came, or
And I think
it'll be abroad.
Because the issue with, and you touched on Sancho, the issue with the Sancho one was they bought Sancho and then they bought Ronaldo. There was no strategy. Sancho was the strategy. Ronaldo was the panic.
Yeah, but Chris, do you think they expected to get Ronaldo?
No.
Do you think, that's what
Basically,
I'm saying.
it goes back to the story. Goes back to the story where Ronaldo called the shots on that transfer. He turned around to Juventus and said, "I'm off," and he literally walked out Juventus Football Club and said, "That agent, Jorge Mendes, find me a new club. I'm out of here."
But how does that come about, though? Why was there a fallout, or was he just simply I can't do this anymore?
Basically, Juve, because of COVID, and Juve, Serie A doesn't get enough funds through the league for the league television rights. Juve basically were hemorrhaging money, and they were paying Ronaldo 30 million a year. Well, 60 million pre-tax, which is what United are basically paying anyway.
Right.
So Juve were like, "We've got this player that we want to get off our books."
No wonder they want rid of Ramsey as well.
Allegri doesn't like him. Allegri. Well, that was the reason Allegri went the first time. Was basically it was a choice of Ronaldo or Allegri, and Allegri walked. So Allegri's come back now, which I personally think maybe if this Juve thing doesn't work out with Allegri, I can see Allegri as Man United manager in the next 1 or 2 years.
Good shout.
He's always said he was basically before. Whilst Ollie was struggling last season, Allegri was learning English, and his agent was putting press releases out there to say Allegri's learning English. He wants to come to the Premier League, and the one job he really wants is Man United.
I think that's the problem. He's probably the only manager I can think on the top of my head now that Conte's sort of settled down, and
Zidane's out there as well.
Zidane, maybe. I still don't think he'd do what needs doing at United.
Yeah.
I think they need someone more long term. I'm not saying Allegri's long term, but I think he's got a few more years in his locker than what Zidane does. And I think you need something like with Conte, it's temporary. In 2 years' time, in fact, I wouldn't even give them 2 years.
I'm saying 16.
I'm saying 60. Yeah, I think 16 to 18 months. I think Conte's gone, and then Tottenham have got to start again. And that is when you do maybe look at your likes of Graham Potter and people like that. But I think they need stability. Tottenham are in a position now where they need stability. At least with Arteta, we are in a position where we can say, look, he's building a project. There's years to come, and
they've gone with it.
And they've gone with it. Well, yeah, we hope they've gone with it. We'll see what happens. We could, if we end up back to square one, it will be a riot again.
Yeah, of course it will be.
But yeah, I think they need someone there. They can at least say, look, you're here for this amount of time, and he sticks around, gets a system, builds a new project, because that's what needs to happen. And the same at United. Firstly, he needs to work and figure out how to play all these good players at once, because there's too much going on over there. Like, very briefly, we'll touch on West Ham after this, because we've actually been on for quite a while. But look at Moyes, right? He's got a lot to work with. Not the best players in the world, but a lot of players there. But he's found a system that works. United, they've got some of the best players in the world, and there is nothing working. They just don't know what to do with it. Ollie hasn't got the experience, and that's the thing where Allegri or a Conte or a Zidane will benefit, because he knows what to do. He'll see these players and be like, look.
Yeah, I think Miller's right in the sense of this group of individuals, and I think Den, you're right in the sense of you need a manager to come in and go, here's my system, here's how I play. I can kick out big players if I have to.
Yeah, that's it.
But realistically, though, what you have to look at as well with Man United, and I know we want to try and move it, so I'll be quick and stuff like that. They was never expected to win that game against Liverpool. It was just the performance that is brought it to the it's the performance that's brought it to the forefront.
You're at home against your rivals. Need to win.
The gap has been massive for years.
They finished above us last year.
The gap has been massive. I'm sorry, but
and touching on United as well, like we just mentioned earlier, they've got the derby coming up. It would not surprise me to see Ollie go and get a result against City. And this is where I really think it will be like, right, Ollie, you're staying now, because he's gone and done a job over at Shite Hart Lane, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, whatever it's called. And now he's got City. It's a perfect opportunity for him to get 2 good wins on the bounce. And believe me, he's staying in that position. I honestly don't think there is anything going on in boardroom.
When you say that staying in position, are you saying to the end of the season?
I don't even think there's been a discussion of him getting sacked. I think it's all clickbait. I think the owners are 100% behind him. Now they've got Ronaldo and Sancho. I don't think they can afford to go and they'll probably have to pay him out fair. Like we've just seen what Nuno got. He got stupid amount of money for 10 games work. He got like 10 million or whatever it was for 10 games work. United are not in a position where they can go and pay that out to a new manager and pay him. And they know that they've got the team in the play now. All they need to do is Solskjaer just needs to figure out what team he wants. Because you've got Ronaldo, Sancho, Fernandes, Rashford's just come into it, and like Cavani. Rashford's just come back in, and he's already one of their best players. That says a lot. Like that says, right, you're not doing good enough. But yeah, I hate talking about them. I want them in the mud anyway. But yeah, I think Ollie's around for the rest of the. Let's talk about this very, very briefly. Villa and West Ham. I mean, Moyes. I don't know about you, Chris, but I'm completely worried about what's going on at this club. I mean, they just look like they're like even in Europe, they're unbeaten in Europe, which is something you don't see from West Ham. I know my friend Dom's somewhere smirking, but a lot of the time they go out of these European competitions early. What do you make of West Ham? Obviously, they're in the top 4, good position. Liverpool coming up. Do you think they can? Now they've got it clicking into gear. Do you think this is just going to keep going on now? That they'll carry on?
Are we surprised because they were just as good last year? Like if it wasn't for I think dip of form at the end, they may have snuck into the top 4.
Yeah, right on the final day, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, I think it was a bit before, but they got the top. They got into 6th place, wasn't it? Yeah, they got 6th place. Like I'm not surprised. It's nice to see that they kick off. They've got an exciting team. I think there's still areas for them to improve. I think they do need that sort of reserve striker to Antonio, because when Antonio is out, they do lose their teeth up top. But they've got some, Souček and Rice have proven to be one heck of a midfield pairing. Ben Rama.
He had a brilliant game in this game. Phenomenal.
Oh, Rice,
He's pretty much the best player of the game. He's dominating games.
Moyes is just letting him roam forward, and he's loving it. And you can see he's enjoying his football, Declan Rice. I think we saw a few glimpses of it in the Euros final against Italy when Rice was roaming forward trying to move the ball. And actually, it's one of his best strengths.
He's got the physique for it.
Yeah.
You just forget how young he is as well. Was he 22, 23?
Yeah, he doesn't look. I think it's because he doesn't look it. He's built like a brick, like for some of the 20, like in
potential
that
boy has got.
And then also you've got, West Ham have got potentially a new takeover coming as well. The Czech Republic businessman that inspired
Prague is West Ham. There's just their whole squad seems to have like this togetherness now, which is not something they've always had, and they're all buying into the manager's sort of tactical plan. They're just doing what he says. They're all buying into it. And when you do that, it's a successful formula.
Yeah.
I don't know if you touched on Deckers, but did you touch on it?
Yeah. Literally, just who we're talking about.
Yeah. Villa, don't know. I think their gaffer could soon be in trouble if they carry on.
Yeah, I think the fact they've spent obviously they sold Grealish, so there was always going to be some sort of work to do there. But I thought they brought the money quite well. I thought they did it efficiently, and they brought in Buendia and Danny Ings, remarkable. Like that came out of nowhere. The fact they kept the business very hidden as well, I thought that was quite.
I'm fuming because I've got
and Leon Bailey. Yeah, but they do. I think it's the fact they're still working with a new system, 2 up top, and obviously it fits them.
They changed it, didn't they, in this West Ham game?
Yeah, and they changed it. Yeah,
because results ain't going their way.
But I think if you've got Ollie Watkins and Danny Ings in your team, you need to make it happen. Whether you even just play Watkins out wide. You can't not be playing them together because one does one thing and one does another. Watkins is quite good at holding the ball. He's got the pace. And Ings is, I'm not going to say he's a poacher because he does a bit more than that, but you've got the best of both worlds. Leon Bailey, I've always liked him. I think he's a star. So, yeah, I think if Dean Smith doesn't start getting something going, he could be in trouble.
They're 15th in the table, one place above Watford. They should be doing a lot better than that.
Well, yeah, I mean, should they, though?
Yeah.
Like, at the moment, when you look at the teams in the league still, what's your sort of... Chris, what do you think they should realistically be aiming for? Are we talking top half or top or bottom half? Looking at that.
Yeah, but to be honest, I just think it's mid-table. They're Palace.
Yeah, good shout. Actually, good comparison. Yeah.
I just don't think they got enough. They got enough in the tank to survive another year. But you need something special. Something. They got potentially a framework to be able to build upon and make up hints on the top. But the thing is, if you think about all the teams that the top half is just getting quite congested now. You've got Leicester in and around there. Yes, they've dipped off this year. West Ham are in there. What's that now? A top 8?
Yeah.
If Newcastle survive and start pumping money, they'll start knocking on the door. You have a top 9. Effectively, we
Yeah. Well, yeah. Look at Brighton. Look at Brighton at the moment. Brighton are above most. I think most of the teams you'd expect to be in that top 6. So for me,
I thing is, my question, which isn't discussed a lot, by mainstream pundits, is are we at a point where I don't know, we almost got a top 3 and then everyone else?
Yeah,
that's what it feels like. Yeah, it looks like West Ham at the moment are making the best sort of fist of getting that 4th spot.
Yeah, well, I mean, Villa, I think they'll be fine, but I just think they need to get this system working quickly because it's not worked in the games they've played. 10 games in, you need to change it, try something new, because they've got the skill there, like John McGinn, even Douglas Luiz. I like him. I think he's a good player, to be honest. And they've got
Konza at the back.
Yeah, Konza at the back. Tyrone Mings, I think he's overrated, but I think he's a good player. And yeah, Matty Cash, target. Ashley Young brought in.
Matty Cash, a Poland international.
Yeah, and the attack, they've got a better attack than most teams. So Dean Smith, I don't know. I'm not saying this on the cards.
He's got to be doing better with the group of players he's got.
Yeah. Right, next 3 games could be crucial. But last but not least, then we'll wrap up. Wolves Everton. Rafa Benitez. I'm going to talk about him only because we spoke about him before the beginning of the season, Chris, when he was sort of first brought in. Do you think he can last till the end of the season? Because there's a big weight on his shoulders. Obviously, we got to look at beginning of last season, right? Everton were in this position where they had this big, exciting mountain to climb. They had Ancelotti brought in, Rodriguez, Richarlison, obviously Calvert-Lewin, all these good players, good management. Now they've not really got anything going for that. They've not got a run in form. These are the sort of games where I'm not going to say they should pick up points because Wolves away is never easy. Arsenal have not always been successful there. Same for probably Liverpool, etc. But what do you think is the problem at the moment? They've got 2 injuries. I get that. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin was on Monday Night Football. Decore's out injured. But there's still not enough there, is there? Like Sigurdsson, we know what's gone on with him. I'm not going to bring it up.
Moving on. You don't think fast. No, I think with Everton, they missed Decore massively on Monday. I think that was obvious. I think they just their midfield just doesn't feel that imposing, to be honest. And I think it goes back to my earlier point about this formation of a top 8, top 9, where teams like West Ham, Leicester, Brighton's going to start punching in. Everton's ambitious owners with the new stadium and stuff. That's where they want to be. And I think, if Everton, keep on this road with Rafa and, the results don't keep going their way and they feel like they're getting left behind, then, I could probably see a managerial change there. But then again, it goes back to the question of, who do you bring in? to Everton, to reach those ambitions of punching the top 7.
I mean, to be fair, he scored, but Alex Iwobi's still bloody getting in the team. That speaks volumes, doesn't it? Like 40 million, I've never seen it spent so.
He's only
bought
getting
so well.
in the team because of Decore's injury.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think go back 2 games, Everton were doing really well. Now they've just suddenly lost to Watford and Wolves, and they're down to 10. But Rafa's a good manager. I don't think anyone can deny that.
No, definitely. But I think they're analysing, because Monday Night Football was a really good watch, because they were actually analysing the sort of the XGs from like set pieces and everything like that. And it's just Lee, you'll probably remember this very very fondly as a Liverpool fan. Zonal marking, Rafa's zonal marking is just proven to be the Achilles heel again.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're obviously missing players. Calvert-Lewin, I think Richarlison's been missing.
You see the shit that
Decore.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I quite like to see a player in that doing that. I want to see more of that. If a player's injured, you're not going to be training on a Monday night. Go and talk about it.
It's good to see players just not, media trained behind people, actually coming out, being a bit more open to the public.
Yeah, you see the other side of him and stuff like that.
I want to see more of it. If a player's injured, then why not jump on a Monday Night Football? You're not going to be training on a Monday night, are you? So,
all the comments directed were like, "Oh, you should be concentrating on your football." 7 o'clock at night. What's he going to be doing?
If anything, that is concentrating more, because it's giving him, I think it's giving him a bit of ambition, and it's making him motivated to go and do well. But boys, it's been a pleasure. Chris, thank you for jumping on, mate. It's probably our longest pod, I think, to be honest. But we appreciate it. We're back.
It's coming.
In international break, but then we'll be back the week after that.
Bring on Suarez tonight.
Yeah, Champions League for Lee, not for us, but the mood is good.
I got Champions League in an hour because Milan kick off slightly early. And then Milan derby on Sunday. Oh, that's gonna be a big game, guys.
I tell you what.
Zlatan winner.
No, I'm going to predict 2-1 Inter. Sorry, mate.
Oh. Well, I'm hanging up.
But take it easy, guys. We'll be back soon. Have a good rest of the week.
See you later.
See you, mate.